In this video, I'm going to be showing you exactly how to run paid ads to raise capital. My name is Antoine. In the last 10 years, I've used paid traffic and organic strategies to raise over $30 million for businesses and real estate and everything else that I've done. This year, I started a real estate fund. We bought 4 apartment buildings, close to 100 units, $10 million AUM, and I've used these strategies this year in 2025 to raise capital. So I want to share with you everything that I've learned over the last 10 years and especially over the last 12 months. And my promise is that by the end of this video, you're going to have a couple key nuggets that you can use to go out there and start running paid ads for your business or your fund or your real estate ventures. So with that being said, let's get into the video. So running paid ads to raise money is very, very different than running paid ads for a service. So for example, like in a service-based business, let's say we wanted to run paid ads. So we take our ads and we direct our ads to a call, and on that call we get a sale. The goal would be to spend as much money as you can in the ads. And how do you calculate if you're having a good return on your ads? ROAS is return on ad spend. That's what you would use for a service-based business. Any kind of business where your life cycle and your sales cycle is less than 30 days. It can be less than 30 days. You can run an ad. People show up to those calls, you can collect money on those phone calls. So for example, I've been doing this for a real estate service business that I have. I've been doing it for a real estate education company that I have as well, called Flip System and Martel Turnkey. Both of those companies spend hundreds of dollars a day, thousands of dollars a day on ads. And then we take those ads, those go to a call, and then people show up to the phone call and we collect money. Those are called ROAS. Now, if you have something where you raise money, raising money is very, very different, because if you're raising money to do like a single family home fix and flip, a multifamily deal, all types of real estate, or typically when you're raising money, you're not doing like short-term capital raises. You get paid differently when you raise money because you're raising money to implement it to some strategy, and typically that strategy pays you at the end. Going from ads to a capital raise, money in your pocket, this process way over 90 days. For us, it's like 5 years to get the majority of our money, or it's like drips of cash throughout the entire process. So because of this, there is a different word that is used. Instead of using the word ROAS, what they use in this instead is called COC. And COC means cost of capital. ROAS, a good ROAS would be like above 3. Like a 3 to 5x would be great. That means for every dollar that you put in turns into $3 in 30 days. The issue with raising money is that doesn't happen that way. If you raise 100K for like a real estate fund, that allows us to buy a building for 300K in which they would own like 80% of, so we get 20% of the equity. A much more complicated math equation than the one in yellow. ROAS is above 3 to 5x is great, and it's 1 to 3. You put $1 in, you get 3 out in 30 days. Like, it's so much easier to kind of calculate. It depends on how you're raising the money and what you're raising the money for. If you're raising it for a fix and flip or a real estate fund, I'm gonna give you my example. You can kind of leverage this and apply it to whatever way that you wanna go out there and raise money. So for our real estate fund, we charge a 3% acquisition fee, and then we take like 30% promote, or 30% equity. And then we charge typically a 3% AUM fee. This is how we make money. If we raise, for example, 100K comes in the door, we would get 3% acquisition fee on the purchase price. We raise 100K, that would be 300K in property value, because you're putting around, let's just say 33% down, times 3% would be $9,000. So we're making $9,000 right from the get-go. Then we get 30% of equity. So that would be worth $30,000, but this happens in year 5. We don't really get much of that equity for year 5, just for simplistic sake here. And then we make 3% AUM. This is based on the equity that we raised. So this is $3,000 a year times 5 is $15,000. You raise $100,000, you make $9,000 in revenue. So it's kind of like a $9,000 sale if you had a service-based business. Now you want to run the ad to the capital call, to the raise. Hopefully you raise 100K, which really puts in your pocket right now $9K. If you raise $100,000 and you get $9K, that's like a 9%. What most people in real estate land call a good cost of capital. So like ROAS, remember? ROAS is going to be around 3x, 3 to 5x. For cost of capital, they say a good percentage is 3%. They say a good cost of capital is 3%, but I just showed you the first 90 days, you're tripling your money. You're getting a $100,000 investment. That allows you to buy a $300,000 piece of real estate if you're a fund. You get a 3% acquisition fee. The acquisition fee is based on the purchase price. So you make $9,000 in revenue. If your cost of capital, which is like, this is what they say is great, you would be essentially tripling your money. In reality sense, obviously like that acquisition fee is used for a lot of other expenses like flights and travel and phone calls and running the ad, that kind of 9% acquisition fee is not just like for fun to put in our pocket. It actually goes to a lot of stuff to like, there's a lot of deals we back out on that we don't make any money on that we have to just walk away from. The acquisition fee, the AUM fees, the 30% of equity, like is all paid to us over a 5-year period, the length of the deal. The acquisition fee is paid up front just to put some cash in the fund's pocket so that it can pay for all the bullshit expenses. It might take us 2 or 3 flights to go and find a deal. And that's flights and hotels for multiple people and inspections. If we put a deal under contract, we pay $5-6K for the inspection, plus flights and travel, another $2,000. If we don't do a deal, we eat that money. It might take us 2 trips to find one deal. You see what I mean? So it starts to kind of eat away at that. That's why they say a cost of capital of 3% is great, because you're going to make 9% as soon as you close. You essentially would be tripling your money, and you kind of have some room and some buffer there. That's kind of like a high level overview of how it's different, because when I first started getting into this and I started looking at the numbers, I was looking at ROAS. You raise 100K, you're making 9,000 plus 30,000 plus 15,000. 45K plus 9K is 54K on a 100K investment. 54,000 bucks on a 100K investment. And then we were getting people to invest $5,000 customer acquisition cost to make 54K. I was like, holy shit, we're at a 10x ROAS. Funny thing is that if you run ROAS with this kind of business model, it's gonna be around a 10x. If you have the money to front load, this is where like the math comes into play. If you have the money to just spend as much money as you possibly can on ads and use that ads money, and then you're okay with getting paid back over a 5-year period, you are gonna 10x your money. You will 10x your money if you had enough cash. Let's say, for example, that you had $1 million and you wanted to start your fund and you didn't really even need the $1 million. You're like, I don't care, just pay me back over a 5-year period. So we put $1 million into ads. Let's just say we put the $1 million into ads and it costs us like $9,000, which is like a 9x cost of capital. Let's say it costs us $9,000 for every $100,000 raised. We spend $1 million, $9,000 per 100K. If you raise $1 million, if those numbers, it's 111 people times 54K in revenue per person. That times 54, 6 million. Essentially, if you have this $1 million, you can turn it into $6 million, which would be $5 million profit. The only thing is you have to wait 5 years. That's why the vehicle of the fund is so important. Just run these numbers with whatever you are doing. If you do have a fund model, fantastic. You can just copy this. If you're raising money for your business, obviously look at that. Like, how much money am I willing to burn? What is the lifetime value, like the lifetime revenue of this lead, this person, this investor? That math's pretty crazy. You take $1 million, if you're like, I don't care, I'm just gonna get dividends from this money over a 5-year period, you're literally gonna be making $6 million, $5 million in profit, as long as you're okay with a 5-year period. ROAS, like I said from the beginning, ROAS should be less than 30 days and people look at 3 to 5x, but cost of capital, people look at 3%. But I think you can almost go up to 9% if the acquisition fee doesn't cost you much. You can do whatever you want. That's just what people are saying is a good metric. Obviously, if you're raising a fund, you probably want to invest, and raise money just like somebody else's. I found it pretty difficult to raise cost of capital around 3% with paid ads. I'm kind of in this like 8-9% range. And so that's what kind of made me make this video, because the 3% from paid traffic is tough. However, the best flow that I have found to raise money from accredited investor, and here's just like some ads tips. Video in front of the property works even better. Next, you want to make sure you call out accredited investors. So I want you to verbally call it out, accredited investors, in the ad. I want you to be in front of the property and give a little bit of insight about who you are, how many deals you've done. You have this building behind you right under contract right now. If you click the link down below, it's going to show you the deck for this property. Just fill out a quick little form. It's going to show you a deck. And if you're interested, then we'll provide you some next steps to either 1, book a call or invest in this deal if we have the space. You want to provide a little bit of urgency as well. And then 4 is the flow. So it should be an ad to link down below. That link should have a form. On that form, you want to make sure you ask if they're accredited, how much cash they're looking to invest. Do they have any 401ks is also what I would ask. And then that form should go to the deck. Deck plus CTA to book a call. That's kind of my flow. That's what I would do. I typically like to just run ads when I am raising capital for a deal, just because I know that I have that acquisition fee coming soon. I would try to stay below 10% cost of capital. If you have the cash to be able to dump into this business model, and you're okay with waiting the 5 years, the numbers are nothing like I've ever seen. I mean, you do this in a service-based business, you have all this cash up front, which is fantastic, but you're not making these crazy numbers. I spent millions and millions of dollars on paid ads for service-based businesses. It didn't turn out to be that much profit over the long run because the LTV for these people is way, way higher. And this is just if they only invest 100K. For example, most people don't just invest 100K. If you raise 100K from somebody and it costs you 9K to do it, but then like later on they double up and they invest 200 and then 300, then yeah, sure, this was 9%, but now it's 4.5, and they invest 300, whatever that math is. Let's say they invest 400, then it's like 2.25. That percentage keeps on going down, going down, going down, going down as you raise more and more money. And I think that's why a lot of funds say, oh, 3% cost of capital. It's like, yeah, but like, are you looking at the first investment, the second check, the third check, the fourth check? Which check are you looking at? That's it. Thanks for staying till the end of the video. If you are an accredited investor or you want to invest in our fund, if you're interested in investing in multifamily real estate, click the link down below, top of the description to invest with us. We have a fund. We are buying multifamily properties across the Midwest. We'd love to work with you or chat with you, or maybe our funds can do some deals together. Click the link down below, top of the description. There's gonna be a deck there, some other goodies for you, deal analyzer, all that good stuff, so you can see kind of what we do and how we do it. Thanks so much. Make sure to like and subscribe. Comment down below, what video do you wanna see next? See you on the next one.